Hi, we're the Infamy Fantasy Sports team, and we're going to be starting up our fantasy sports tournaments again this week. So check that out at infamy.gg. But today we're going to talk about a pretty twisted topic. In case you don't know, there's been I think like over 100 accusations of sexual assault that have come out of the Super Smash Bros. Community, including some of the biggest names in the scene, and a large number of them are between adults and underage kids. And just to get the trigger warning out of the way, we're not the most sensitive bunch, as you probably know if you've watched any of our videos. And we want to openly explore why we believe this happened and kind of steps they can take in the future to stop this from happening. But if you're looking for a more measured, sensitive look at this, this is not the place. I think many members of the Smash community, like EE and surprisingly like Leffen, have done a really great job at a kind of a more I don't know, introspective look at it. I don't know if that's the right word, but you can check out their content if you're looking for something like that on the subject. But if not, you're just in for the clown fiesta this is about to be. But our goal is to have an open discussion of what the fuck happened and like how this travesty occurred, and when all we really wanted was to see Mario dunk on Cloud because this shit is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So Blake, why do you think things ended up the way they did in the Smash community?
Frankly, I don't understand why people are surprised. This is a kids game. Like we've seen these events before. Like a lot of them are in basements. Now they've upgraded to hotel rooms, right? Or they're at venues
What's the
now.
after party? They have venues now.
Nah, man,
Like
they're
I
you
think
know
the basements were
No,
safer because no
the
one.
they had
money
a
the
whole
money
bunch of
matches go
they had a whole
the
bunch
money
of
matches go down in
virgin
the
old
hotel
dudes
room.
and some small children in a fucking close vicinity with alcohol. You don't think that there's maybe going to be a problem that happens when there's no supervision? Like this is what no one's checking what's his name said it. No one's checking IDs at these after parties. This is a problem. Like the
I think it's
community
all going down
itself.
at the after parties. It's not like the events themselves, but that's. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is. Like people, a lot of them serve alcohol not to minors at the events, but to adults. And then they intermingle.
Yeah.
Like,
They
There's no way for them to
Well,
like fully supervise it. So it's just like
I don't think it's the venue's problem, to be perfectly honest with you. It's like hosting furry events. Like you know what's happening, but is it your problem? You're just taking somebody's money and giving them a place to do it, right? It's up to them what they do,
I
right?
mean, I don't even think the venues knew though that this was going
Obviously
on.
not. They were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's gonna be a tournament," and then some people get hotel rooms at the tournaments after the tournaments, and then things start to happen, right? You
Mhm.
think about it, and it's like one, I'm like, where are the parents in these situations a lot of the times? Like your 15-year-old son that's participating in a tournament, you're going to let him stay overnight at a hotel or like you're not going to go with them? You know what I'm
Yeah, let
saying?
'em try.
Like
Like I know when I was 15, my parents weren't letting me go to no Smash tournament, let alone stay in a hotel by myself. Like they would have, if I was gonna do it, they would have been there with me,
yeah,
100%.
or you would have had somebody that was older that they trusted to go with like you would have had supervision of some kind. Like I don't understand how like you read these allegations and you just like how can these kids be allowed to be in this situation,
where were the
right?
parents?
Yeah, where were the parents? I mean, like I'm a harp on that a lot because I wouldn't let my kid do that. My mom wouldn't have let me that shit happen to me. And also, like if I didn't want that to happen to me, I would have also cracked somebody in the mouth. But like I'm not gonna say that it's anybody's fault what an adult does to a child. That's terrible, and they are 100% at fault if there's any kind of evidence. Like because again, like these are all allegations, right? We don't know if
Yeah,
any of this happened, and it's it there's not really going to be any kind of investigations into any of these things either because they happened so long ago, which is unfortunate, and these are mostly just people trying to vent about something that happened. So you take it with a grain of salt, but and you just assume that it's like okay, you're there for the people, but is it right to like ruin somebody's career off of something that is unprovable.
I mean, when you delete your Twitter, it's pretty.
Yeah, I mean that's an admission of guilt, right?
like, yeah, that's like you can't get
A
around
lot
that.
of
So
them,
like
a lot
it's
of them
I
outright
mean, why
did
would
admit it.
why would any of these people like lie about it?
No, I'm not saying that anybody lied about it. What I'm saying is like the people that come like there are some where it's not like it's the people that are like with the children we're talking about, right? Like that's terrible, right?
Mhm.
But when it's two of age people and there was like a miscommunication and like harassment, right? Like there if it is harassment, then it's like okay, maybe you deserve to not get your sponsorship, and that's up to the sponsors. And you see this too with like the COC, right?
Mhm.
They're the Smash code of conduct, right? It's not enforceable at any of these venues. It's up to the venue to decide whether to ban these people or not, right? So does a venue not allow a pro player that like fans want to see to come based on something that may or may not uh like it's just something that like it's the news cycle right now. You maybe don't allow them for a while, but like when this is out of the public conscience, right? Are these people going to be permanently banned from all
I
these
think
I
it's really
events?
going to come down to severity of like the
Yeah,
accusations
definitely.
and
I
the
think
data there.
I think that they should be until they prove themselves innocent,
How
because
would you
these are
do
like
that? How would
serious
you even go about
accusations.
that?
You prove that the person who's making these accusations about you is lying. Or
Yeah.
you,
Well,
I,
this,
I
this
think that's what.
let's talk more about cancel culture more later. I'm just more interested to talk now about like how this happened, and I think a big part of it is because it's like some of the biggest names in the scene of like for years, like Zero and Nairo, like probably the two biggest streamers and competitors in like the history of Smash. The way because Smash is like a generational game that's been like competing since I don't know 2000s. These people are built up to be like gods and heroes in the eyes of like all these new players that are coming in and like
Mhm.
getting to like and the community really props them up because that's like the face of their community. It's like, oh, Zero's
Yeah.
the guy, Nairo, everyone loves him. And then you're in like an environment, it's like these people, they're just people,
Mhm.
but they view them as like these, like interacting with them gives them some sort of like value or clout, and they like it goes to these kids heads, like the top streamers and pros in the community. They get like these huge egos that like, wow, I all these adoring fans I have, all these streamer donations, and they feel they're like kind of above like
They're
I guess
untouchable.
the law. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
You
they
get a
cannot.
god.
yeah,
Would you say they're getting a god complex?
Well,
The
in
five
Smash,
yeah.
gods.
They
like
literally call
the
them gods.
the yeah,
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 they
the Score
literally.
Esports made that like the great points. Like they are literally referred to as the five gods of Smash. It's just like
Yeah,
Yeah,
Though none of
yeah,
them
and
are accused.
yeah.
yeah.
yeah, that's
That's kind of what my point is. Like, I really think that the situation that happens, like, it's these kids are like one like there are already young kids at the events, right? You're interacting with your fan base most of the time. Your fan base is already younger, right? You probably not really that social, right? You're playing games most of the time professionally, you're streaming, whatever. You probably don't have a lot of social life. So you're
Yeah, dude, it
interacting.
literally goes. You go from 0 to 100 real quick, where it's like you've been grinding
yeah,
in your
Mhm.
basement for years, and then suddenly you're a pseudo celebrity, and
Yeah,
all these people are bowing down to you, and you're just
yeah,
like don't know how
exactly.
to handle a normal friendship or social relationship. So, it's
Yeah,
a recipe for disaster.
these kids most of the time they're mentally they're man children. Let's call them what they are. Most of them are man children. Their mental state is probably lot younger than what their actual age is, right? And then you think about it too. They're pseudo celebrities, and their fanboys and girls are 12 years old. Like you can't win in that kind of situation where it's like imagine being like, are you gonna fault a like a rock star for like banging a roadie? Like in this situation, yeah, you're totally gonna send them to jail because they're 12. Like I don't understand. Like yeah, there is a situation where maybe somebody should have stepped in and like seen okay, there's my child idolizes this pro player, right? Maybe I should keep an eye on that kind of situation, right? If they're going to be going to the events and they're going to be competing all the time, like I got to put the
With
blame on
that,
the parents here. Like also the
I
people that are doing it are
Well,
disgusting.
I think the
I put
community
the
is really at blame as well because, and I think it attributed to their like kind of lower mental maturity, where like you know, a lot of it was pretty common knowledge that a lot of this was happening, or it was rumored to be happening, but like no one was
No one
like
stepped
adult enough to
Mhm.
step in. Yeah, because they're just like, well, not my problem. I'm
It's not
Peter
me.
Pan. I'm gonna go do whatever.
yeah,
But
because like if you're the whistleblower and the whole community like is in on it and they're just like, nah, now you're like, say let's use like the Buzz as an example because we were just talking about him. He blows the whistle, and the whole community is that's in on it. They just are like, all right, the Buzz, we're not talking to you anymore. So like you have to think about it from that perspective. These people, this is their careers. You know, you don't want to risk your career. Not saying that it's right that they didn't speak up. They 100% should have, but I can
No,
see the reasoning
yeah, I was
why
just
people.
gonna bring that up too. Like the problem is that it's such a tight knit community, and they're not supported by any kind of administration or any kind of funding. So like these type of allegations, they could have sunk everyone's career because everyone's like, "Oh, Smash is full of pedos." You know what I'm saying? So it created like a hush hush scenario where people aren't trying to come out because like, "Oh, that like maybe just stay away from that guy," or like whatever the case may be, because they don't want to hurt the community as a whole. Just because it like now you see like it's in the hundreds, like, and I feel like that's why I kind of see that large number coming out of this community is because it's been swept under the rug so many times, and you see it in the case with what's her Sinpai.
Mhm.
Like people knew about that for a long time, and it just kept getting swept under the rug. And maybe
I
it's
feel like it was
because it's
almost
like
like it was so gross that they didn't really like. You'd think about it, and you were just like, "No, no, that can't be true, right? I want to think. I want to think of a more
Mhm.
better world than that. You know that's not
mhm,
going
Yeah,
on." So they just kind of
yeah,
yeah,
block it
not
out.
at my tournaments.
yeah, not at my
Yeah,
tournament. Yeah, I'm
but I
sure
think
there's
Blake's
some of that
totally
too.
right because I think they have a big chip on their shoulder, kind of like the grassroots. The way Smash came up, such a grassroots way that they're like kind of more afraid than normal people to like blow it up like this. Like this is like oh man, I know Nairo just did something really bad, and that kid is way too young for him. But if I take out Nairo, it's like wow, that's a major hit to our community and all this work that we've been building up for years all on our own. So do I want to be the one
Yeah,
to like sink the ship or point out that the we have this infestation?
Or you're
yeah, and it's
sniping
just
too,
yeah,
competition sniping too. It's like,
it's
yeah, I'll take
it's
Nairo
crazy.
out, and now I'll be able to win tournaments.
Yeah. It's
That's
crazy to think
terrible.
about because I've mentioned it on videos before where like I got into Twitch from watching Nairo. I watched him play Zero Suit Samus, and then I found out about this news and I was like, wow,
Mm.
just like completely out of left field. You can't tell what's going on in a person's head or like at these events. You just like see them on the screen and then you find out this news about how twisted they are. Just like
I mean,
how
Nairo at least like kind of knew he was
Yeah,
in the wrong. Like he immediately deleted his Twitter, and he knew it was so bad that he was paying off the kid like 2,000 a month or something to delete his messages and not say anything. So like I feel like he knew he fucked up and made a mistake, but it's just like it's too late. You already had that impact on this child.
This might be fucked up, but do you cash that check, man?
if
That's
you're
kind of
the,
yeah. If
I
you're that
wonder
kid, like, man, you take that money
did
too.
he
Like, that
did he?
like
I
I
don't.
would have just
He
blown
never said
somebody,
it
to
in
be
his
Why
like
honest.
not?
thing.
Pain
I
and
would have done it
suffering.
one time just so that there's evidence. Like this kid was smart about it. Like he really built a case around it. Like
Yeah, he
when
had
you
Mhm.
look at it,
Discord
like it.
messages, the
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 accounts.
PayPal transactions, yeah,
Mhm. Yeah,
text
no,
messages.
he really like that. It's sad that you have to, as a victim, you have to like build that much of a case around yourself. Just to be
I
like,
wonder if it was actually this might be a little fucked up, but like I wonder if it would actually work because his Discord messages are between like a friend telling the third party like what happened, and then like the payments come from the brother for like 2,000. It's not like it says what they're for. It's like maybe the brother is just
yeah, of
paying
course, it's
them
not
for
going to say what it's
something.
for though.
Mhm.
You know what
So
I'm
it's like
saying?
I don't know
And
if there's
like,
actually precedent for
Well,
That would
Nairo also came out and said like, "Yo, this kid like made that shit up." Like like
no,
the
yeah, he
Discord part.
apologized. Nairo apologized for it. He was like, he was he didn't say much, but he was just like, yeah, sorry, I was like let down all those people who looked up to me in the community, and this was wrong. I shouldn't have did it, and and maybe because he did that, he'll disappear, and maybe he'll come back one day, but I doubt it.
No,
Yeah, I don't think he
Yeah.
can come
he's
back.
not coming back
And
from
it's
this.
crazy to think about, because like in previous videos, we praised the Smash community for like all the effort they put into this grassroots community, and now it's just like crumbling before our eyes.
It's almost like
I mean, like,
it's a total disproving of it because there's no one without
yeah,
anyone overseeing it,
Mhm.
like
yeah,
the fucking animals running the zoo or whatever it's called. Like
Yeah.
there's no one to keep this from happening.
it's like
Um,
the fall of Olympus.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
They're not. They'll come back though.
I
I
don't
mean,
know, man.
they
It's
lost
the
a lot of
same
people.
thing.
But like,
Do you think I was looking at it like a park, man? Like these kids are there, predators are going to come. Like no one took any fucking precaution to be like, all right, maybe we should like watch what's happening at these fucking parties. Like somebody should have been responsible for this shit, and no one
Yeah,
was.
but when the party's run by people who are 21 years old, like, it's what are they gonna? They're not checking
Yeah,
IDs. Like,
sorry, you're 12, you can't come in here. Sorry I gotta be the fucking fun police. I'm usually not that guy. But in this
But that's it,
situation,
because
Yeah.
it's such a community. Like no one wants to be the fun police. It's like, oh, we're all
Yeah.
Smash
Yeah.
community.
yeah,
We're having a great
we're all
time.
Smash. Yeah,
all right, yeah, and then you bring a fucking a 14-year-old boy into a fucking hotel room like that, like that's
But, like, it
type of
doesn't-
shit
Yeah.
Shouldn't happen.
It's-
like I put your
you're like-
hands
you're
up.
making-
They're like guns to me. I don't even go around children. It's just like, keep your hands up. God forbid, like you keep them in the public places when they're your fans, right?
I
But
feel
the
it.
after parties are for like the older people in the community. Like you should be checking IDs at that point because
it's
frankly,
not-
you are responsible.
Yeah, but these kids
It's
like
not necessarily just after parties. They do money matches in these hotel rooms after. So like you may see a kid going back to Nairo's room, and you're like, all right, maybe they're doing a money match, or this kid shows up to this party where they're doing these money matches. You think, all right, he's here to compete. He's a Smash player. So there is that kind of guys that you can gloss over it on. Not saying it's acceptable, but I can see how people didn't think anything of it.
no way, especially at these hotels where the people attend. A lot of the times, like they'll cram like so many people into one room
Yeah.
just to to save money. There's no way that you can fully regulate and like oversee what's going on in all these rooms at all times. Like, did you ever like
It's
go
not the
like on
hotel's
like?
problem. That's
It's
not.
not. No, I'm not saying it's the hotels. I'm saying like who's gonna take that charge and be like, all right, I'm gonna go like be a chaperone, periodically check
sometimes
in.
you have to
Like,
be the
there's no
guardian.
way. Let alone
Somebody has.
yeah, like even like when
But,
I
like,
would go on
it's like you
hockey
said, it goes
trips
back to the
to like
parents.
yeah, like as like 13 years old, like me and my hockey team would go on these trips. Like there's only like I don't know, like 15 of us, and like our parents didn't like keep track of us at all times. We got into some like just being pieces of shit around the hotel and fucking stuff up. But it's like, and there's only a few of us, let alone hundreds of and thousands of people who go to these events at these hotels. There's no way. There's too many like
Yeah, it's super hard to
blind
identify on the outside looking in when you see like a
Also,
21-year-old and
there's
like a 15-year-old. It's like, what'd you say?
There's a max capacity of a hotel room. It's like 25
Yeah, but-
fucking people. Like it's your hotel room. Handle your shit. And if you see something happen, like in somebody else's hotel room, if they got their own hotel room, maybe that's a little sketchy to me.
Who someone like gets their own
Like
individual
Nairo who got
hotel?
his own hotel room. Maybe I'd be like,
well because
But Nairo's also signed to NRG, so it's like
Yeah,
Nairo's being sketchy, or does he just have a lot of money to
yeah, he's
not
able.
have to
He's at the
cram
point where
5
he can
people in his
afford
room?
that stuff. He's not one of these. He's not starting out at the low end like a lot of the the competitors, where they do have to like bunk up essentially.
Yeah, and it's just like they'll all be in the same hotel and just running around different rooms. Like they have different like Smash setups around, so then it's just like a giant mess.
I mean, Yeah, I mean, we've done it in we go to Atlantic City. We have when we were in college, we'd have like 8 people in a room, and then we'd get like the 2 rooms adjacent to each other. 16 people in a room that's meant for maximum 4. It's like we know no one ever pressed
But
us
like
about it.
that's
It's like
kind of the
super easy.
situation that I'm talking about though. Like I don't think the kid would get his own room. I think it would be like a community thing like that where you're with your friends. Like even if you can afford it, you might just go and just hang out with your friends and like get in the same block. You know what I'm saying? Like you rent the
Mhm.
4 blocks in the hotel room. That's usually what they're doing anyway in these situations, right? Like
Mhm.
keep an eye out, especially when like you hear these stories where it's like, yeah, I kind of heard some rumors, but like I wasn't really keeping an eye out, even though I had heard fucking like 16, 17
Yeah.
times, whatever the case may be. Like, no one is going to be held responsible for this. And like that's why I'm so upset about it. Like no one, the victims can't do anything about it other than like talk about it on Twitter and share their story, and maybe like they'll have some financial issues with it, but like nothing in the long run, nothing is going to get done about this other than
Yeah.
maybe the Smash community collapses,
N-
and that's unfortunate for everybody.
I think it's
Well,
gonna have to
they're
come
gonna
down to
take
the.
steps.
I think it's gonna have to come down to the TOs and just setting up like support systems and just like guidelines. Like otherwise,
Yeah,
these orgs are gonna like these people are getting dropped from their orgs. New investment is gonna be like they're not the people with money investing in esports. They're not really. Most of them are just like, oh, esports, that's popping off. That can make I can get some good ROI on that. And it's like
Yeah, but
so it's like
you're
I
gonna you're
feel
gonna be
like
an
the
investor and be like, oh yeah, I heard about all these pedos in Smash. I'm not gonna give any money to like.
yeah.
I'm not gonna have my name associated with that.
So I think it has to come down since these are all individualistic like tournaments. There's not like a globalized Smash League. Maybe the Smash World Tour might change that once that gets up and running, where it's like this, like you have to abide by these rules. Obviously, don't touch kids. That's fucked up. And it's like, I think like
That's not a rule though. Like
I I know.
that's
I
never
mean,
gonna
it's
be a
like
rule in any rule
I'm
book.
going at the point where it's like the TOs have
The
to like
law.
have like accountability and like instill that on the people attending.
But how do you
But that's what
enforce
I'm
that when
saying.
these things are happening outside of the venues? Like a TO can't come to your hotel room and be like, "What's
Mhm.
how many people do you have in here? What's going on here?" It like comes down to the community itself
Yeah,
to self-regulate and speak up. I 100% think the people who said that they heard rumors should have spoke up. The second they said they heard these rumors, they should have been like, "Yo, I heard this about so and so." You don't have to say it was you. You can 100% file an anonymous complaint.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly why the COC, like the COC, is anonymous. Like their committee is all anonymous, and people are like they were trying to give them flack for it. But like honestly, like they don't want to take the heat for something that they didn't do. You know, you like we don't know how many people are on it, but like it's probably only a handful of people, and you can't manage that many people. But it is like Darren is saying, it's a failure of the community. Like that's what I'm getting at, and that's why it's so egregious that it's so rampant, and no one said anything. No one.
Yeah, well,
100 cases.
it's because there is no accountability, and the buck doesn't stop with anyone because there's no overseeing organization. It's just like kind of everyone's their own independent factor, and like it doesn't like there's no one that's going to be responsible for all this, like you said, and that's what's happening. No one is responsible.
All right, Smash
I mean,
community. I volunteer to be the fun police here. I volunteer. I will come to your events.
invite Blake to every event. He'll bust
Invite
into
me
your room.
to every event.
clean
I
up.
will come there. I will check IDs. I will make sure there is no
Yeah.
diddling going on. Okay.
Well, EE
There's
said that he'd be checking IDs now, so he's like, yeah, I don't really
hell
fuck with
yeah.
those
Should
after
have
parties
been.
anymore. But now I'm gonna be every time I'm there, I'm gonna be like, how old are you? How old are you?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
let's move on to kind of the general idea of like cancel culture and like what we think is gonna happen with all this, because this whole thing started with like the one kid Puppe. He did his twit long and saying that when he was 14, Senpai, who was 24, started a relationship with him, and that kind of opened the floodgates and allowed everyone else to feel like they were able to. But like it's kind of like these invisible constraints that keep people from you know like it's only because they all did it together that any of them felt safe to do it in the first place, because they I'm sure there's been tons of backlash from like Zero and Nairo fans and all these players fans for for like ruining their career, even though they're just kind of exposing them for the fucked up thing they did. So what do we think the proper responses from the accused, and we can even talk about those who maybe it is made up.
No,
Look, if you're any of the accused, right? Even if you're gonna fight the allegations or you're gonna deny the allegations, right? You should still come out and say to your community, "Hey, don't send these people death threats on my behalf." Like that's why these people are so scared to come out. Like these people are rabid. We know what the gaming community is like.
Dude,
Like when
another streamer named like Cinnamon for Life or something was getting death threats because in the Twitlong Puppe names Senpai like her full name Cinnamon, and so everyone thinks it's her, and she's getting death threats, and she's like, "Please stop! I have nothing to do with this."
exactly. Like one community, calm yourself. Like we like at a certain point, like I'm just gonna say, oh, we gotta act like adults. But the fact is, a majority of this community aren't adults, and like that's why we're having this conversation in the first place. But if you're a young kid listening to this, which definitely you're not, um, you don't idly make death threats to people. One, you don't harass people. You let the authorities or whoever is going to handle this situation handle it, and then when all the information comes out, then you can decide whether it's like that guy was a bad guy or that guy was lying or whatever the case may be. You have to make an informed decision, but you don't go out and harass people over like a feeling. And like that's
But
what
to
these
what you were
people.
saying before, there
there is no
like
yeah,
true
there's no
justice in this.
overseeing body. Like
Yeah,
There's
but
it's
mob
the
justice.
mob, yeah, the mob is deciding the fates of the masses and public shaming.
Yeah.
That's
But
I think the
yeah, but
community itself
that's
needs
the
to
problem.
realize the power it has, because like if you make these accusations against someone and they're not true, you just ruin someone's career, potentially their life. But
Yeah,
on the other hand, you can't treat these people like they're above the law. No one, like I was raised that if someone does something wrong to you, tell someone about it. Like you, just because Zero or Nairo has 100,000 followers on Twitter doesn't mean you can't say anything.
mhm.
Like
but it means
yeah,
you're
I know.
gonna get death threats because these people are assholes.
That's my whole point. I am 100% an advocate for street justice, but that's not street justice. That's harassment, and that's also egregious as well. It's not. But like what my point was is that the people that on both sides, well, mostly the people that are getting accused that have the large communities should be telling their audiences to not harass these people. I don't understand why that is in none of the things. You can apologize to the hills, but what I want to see is somebody take responsibility for their communities for once.
They do,
And that's
some of
what this
them.
whole thing is about.
Some of them end with like, don't attack this person for like canceling me. Like it's my responsibility.
Yeah.
But then some of them, like Zero, he was started getting accused, and he put out like one tweet longer with all these like pictures, like categorizing his time and where he was and denying it. And then someone else accused him, so he replied to that one, denied it again, and everyone's like, "Zero, we always believed you. I knew it wasn't true." And then finally, I guess something else came out, and he made a third tweet long and was like, "Okay, you got me. I did this. I solicited nudes or whatever from underage girls, and I'm gonna be excusing myself from the community now." But it's just like all those people who were like pitchforks up on these girls that were accusing him because they're his fans, and that he's cultivated that community, and now it took that much
I
to get the
like
truth
I
out.
just can't like wrap my head around if like someone that I follow has like accusations like that against them. My initial reaction isn't going to be to defend them. It's going to be like, is this to figure out if it's true? Like people are just like, no, there's no way this person. I mean, it may just have something to do with the amount of time these people invest into these people, but it just like
it's
it
also a
blows my
maturity
mind that
thing.
people are just like blindly defending people
Yeah, it's the
over
tribalism,
people.
dude. It's tribalism.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you know what? Like that's my problem with the cancel culture. Regardless, like you can't have like we even had to have a disclaimer on this video to have an open discussion about like the complexities of the situation. You can't even have this conversation in the public eye anymore because people are everything is so polarizing anymore. Like you look at this situation, you're gonna give death threats to a girl because they said that this dude tried to solicit nudes and you weren't okay with it, and now you're gonna send death threats to a girl, like, and
Yeah,
this is
well,
why.
the argument always is that they're like clout chasing, and they're just like, oh, you're just using this moment to like boost your own status. But I never really understood that because like,
If-
who's
Yeah,
inviting like the
Yeah,
you
what-
just
guy
take a
that, the
second
girl
and
that
think
got
about that,
raped to the
like that
party
stance.
because
It's so stupid. Like,
Yeah, like yeah. What are you gonna get pity clout? Like I don't even
Yo,
know how. Like
who-
you don't want to be known for that. Who wants to be known for
yeah,
that?
ask
that's the reason people
Monica
don't.
Lewinsky how that went.
That's the
Yeah.
reason people don't come out in the first place, because then they're like, wow, now my life is defined by this, and I'm just like, this is who I am known to the masses as the girl that sent 0 videos when I was underage, and it's like that no one wants to have to undergo that experience and the harassment we talked about. But it just seems like it happens sometimes, like I'll be honest, but it just seems like not it can't be the most common occurrence that you're
Yeah.
just doing it
It
for the
can't be the
follows.
knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it just goes back to like the power thing where they just get swept up in the attention that they're given, and that makes
Look,
them
man,
feel.
yeah.
I
You
get
gotta remember that these people, at the end of the day, they're people. They're like,
Mhm.
regardless of how much
I
clout
get
or
it. We're
followers
all
they have,
people.
they're people.
We're
You
all
can't
people.
put them on a pedestal just because 0-1 X amount of Smash tournaments, he's excusable from any kind of allegation.
The word grooming makes me want to like vomit in my mouth. It's like,
Oh my
that's-
god. I just
when
cringed when I
found out
heard
that's the
that.
concept.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's your boy Drake.
Oh,
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get canceled yet. I'm waiting for that day.
He makes everyone sign an NDA and
Yeah,
takes their
yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
But
That's sketchy behavior in itself.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, dude, like at a certain point though, like how, like what Steve was saying, like it doesn't not happen too. So like it's just protecting yourself. Like I
Yeah.
might sound like a psychopath and like that I'm super paranoid about everything a lot of the time, but at the same time, it's like I will never have any of these crazy problems. Like at a certain point, like yeah, they're human, but like sometimes they act like what we were saying before. You have like a god complex. If you just don't act like an idiot, you won't have any of these fucking problems. And like that's why I think that when somebody comes out and says something like that, it's probably for a good reason and not the fact that it's like, oh, I'm just trying to clout chase, or I'm trying to ruin somebody's career that I don't like, It's most likely
Yeah.
not.
yeah, Leffen said in
Yeah.
his video that's like, just because I'm a good Smash player doesn't mean I'm a good person. Like, so don't like. I feel like these people really let their guards down around these people, and they get easily, especially these younger people, they get easily swept up in it, in the hype.
Yeah, and then they're put into situations with adults that they don't know how to handle. And like that's why, again, where are the
Yeah.
parents?
So where do we
Yeah.
think the line is of who's gonna get back into the Smash community?
And
I don't think
anybody
any
that
of them
didn't-
should. I don't think any of
No,
them
that's
should,
not
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
unless
Look,
they're
man,
proven innocent.
It's pretty
Look,
large.
it's yeah, that's 100 people. So like most of the community is gone. So
Yeah.
No, it's not even that big a deal. People blow it up. There's like most of the top players are still there. It's just like some really big ones got taken out, but the Smash community is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not starving
Yeah.
for talent.
And like it gives room for new talent, to be completely honest, to come in. But like we talked about off camera that I think personally that esports should be more regulated and be 18 plus, to be completely honest with you, to prevent these things from happening. Because like you said, like you put children in these situations with adults. Yeah, it's a kids game, but you're also competing for adult amounts of money. So
I don't think
why?
I don't think that that's the issue here. I think that the issue is that adults made poor decisions that are on them. So like how do you control that type of situation? And it comes down to after the events, because none of this has happened at the events. So I don't understand why it's the event's problem to really deal
Well,
with it.
if you don't have 16-year-olds going to these events, you don't have them going to the after parties.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not going to stop a kid from soliciting nudes from a 15-year-old girl over the internet.
Yeah, that's true.
You
But
know what I'm saying? Like
it'll put a
you're gonna ruin the events is all you're really doing, and then you're gonna then all you're really doing is succeeding in destroying the community itself, and then it won't be a problem because they'll just go to other events.
I also think it's kind of wrong to like punish kids for like you can't play competitive Smash because some creepers might be out there. Like, no, that's not how the take you should take. You should put the onus on the adults to manage to make a safe environment so these kids can play a fucking video game. Like,
Yeah, that's my whole point. Look, at a certain point, it comes down to like it's a community problem, and the community needs to come together and handle it and figure out a solution. Banning alcohol at these events, also not for it. 100% not for it. Why
it's
are you
also
gonna?
not realistic.
Yeah. Like they're just gonna
Some
sneak
venues
it in
have
if they
bars.
want it. They're gonna sneak it in. Like now you just have a whole
And then, like,
situation
yeah,
where
the
it's
after
harder to
parties
clean
also.
it up. What'd you say?
The after parties is where most of this happens. So like banning alcohol at the events, they go to some liquor store and then back to their
Yeah, now
hotel
they've
room.
ordered it all in the rooms, and now they're all going up to the rooms. Now even more kids are going up to the rooms.
Yeah. I saw a suggestion of like giving everyone at the events like age distinct like wristbands kind of, and then maybe those could kind of carry over and help in the after parties where it's like, show me your purple wristband or you're not getting in.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
But who's
That's why,
who's going to be the
wristbands
one
exist.
checking that?
The
Yeah.
community, so they don't have another one of these.
Yeah, if you
catastrophic
want to
events
be a community, you
of
better
courage.
not do it again. Like this is do or die for them right now. Like their only event got canceled over this shit. Like, did we
Well,
even
they
talk
weren't
about
even-
that?
But then
They
it's
weren't
like
even
there's
allowed- they
also
weren't
the
even
problem if you
included
do
in
that
Evo.
if you just have like two community people like just a regular guy just like who's part of the community saying oh no you can't be in, like there's going to be the argument against it, like oh who are you to tell me I can't go where I can't go, like where I can't go essentially. Just, you're not a person
Yeah,
of power.
there's
there's no like authority coming from you, so I'm going to go in
There
regardless.
needs to be some. He needs to have some weight with the like TOs. There needs to be some.
Yeah,
kind of
that's what I was saying
interlinking-
earlier. It's like
okay.
there has to be like some. I think it has to come from the TOs because since they're all individual, I think
I don't know.
people
so
who work the
when you
TOs.
have like
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys.
when you have a TO checking wristbands outside of hotel rooms, I don't even know how that would.
I don't know if you guys know this, but hotels have security most of the time. So you call security, and you have the children escorted out by a professional. You don't have to actually get involved in like that kind of confrontation, especially with a minor.
I think
if
it's
the
more like
police have to
if an adult, it's in an adult's room, and
Yeah,
they're like,
get out of
and
my.
it's like, but they're the problem.
Yeah, but yeah,
the pedophiles aren't
yeah, if
regulating themselves.
Yeah, if the adult's like, I want this kid in my room, he's not going to be like, well, you have the blue wristband on. He's going to be like, oh, you have the blue wristband on, so you can't like.
Well, okay,
Like
is
Steve
there
said,
alcohol in the
he's
room?
going to tell on himself.
Yeah, but like think about it this way, like that's something where like now you're coming into like the purview of the hotel, right? Like you come up there and there's fucking underage kids drinking, like then you call the cops. The hotel calls the cops on you. Like that's what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just need more authorities within the community that like can report it to either the code of conduct committee or the TOs, and then they can be like, okay, I'm not, because you got caught doing this, I'm not letting you in my tournaments. But it's like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to give.
You have
some
to get
people the
caught
authority.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
just
saw what
like,
happened with Dear Girl when you give people authority on things.
With who?
That chick from Twitch, that or that dude from Twitch, whatever.
Dear girl.
Yeah, Dear Girl. That dude went mad with power. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. Like, and that's kind of what the whole situation is. Like these people have gone mad with power. So like again, like I feel like this isn't a hard fix. How hard is it to be like, hey, anybody got an idea where that 12-year-old is? Let's make sure they're all right. Keep an eye on the kid. You know?
I mean, the more we talk about it, I do think it's very difficult because we've said several solutions, and like I can think of ways around every solution we've literally nipped in the bud every solution that we've brought up. It's like
Calm
super
down,
difficult. Except for the one obvious one, the parents need to keep track of their children.
Yeah,
It's like,
like all right, think about this, right? Like we were talking about Smash World Cup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about this. Your kid is on a circuit now, and you're sending them all around the country to compete in this thing. Are you going? Are you not going to work? You know, like you're gonna go with this kid to every event. Like most of the time, no. Like as a
but
parent, like
that's why what I said about making the age 18 plus, now you don't have to worry about this because you're technically, in the eyes of the law, a responsible adult, and you can go on this circuit by yourself.
yeah, that's
Because,
fine.
like you said, like are your parents that dedicated to your Smash career to like take off work and go on a world tour with
But,
you?
like most parents won't let them go, is what I'm saying. So like, and then too, like you'll go to your local events, and if you want like most of these things too, like they're not with fans. Like most of them are in the community that this happens, right? So you're interacting with these people on like a daily basis, or like not a daily basis, frequently, right? Like you know these people, you trust them, and then you get lulled into like a false sense of security where it's like things might happen, right? But again, I don't understand that like there's no one that they could have came to like that could stand up for these children. Like there's no
Well, they're
like
They don't know. They don't know that this is like. They're just psyched. They're like, oh, this. You should have seen the messages from that kid after he sucked Nairo's dick. He was like overjoyed, but because he's 15, so he doesn't know that he's 20. That's not okay. So it's like they can't be responsible for regulating themselves. It's up to people to keep an eye out.
no,
you know?
no. It's about creating a space where you like. I'm not saying that it's their fault that they didn't say anything. What I'm saying is people in the community need to step up and be able to be the person that they can confide in. There needs to be some kind of responsibility within the community. Now, is it making a non-anonymous place where you can report? I think what they do on the Discord and like in a couple other places where they track cases and then they post them publicly is a fucking good idea. I think that that's a way to do it. And be like, hey, like this happened to me. You know, you say it anonymously and whatever, and then you look into it. But like most of the real ones will actually have somebody behind it that will respond to it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're worried about people being like, "Oh yeah, that made up a whole bunch of fake stories about it," like when it's only anonymous when they post it on the board. When they're coming to the board, it's not anonymous. Like
But
you have to be
who is
able to.
this? Who is this board? Again, it's
They
like,
have to
so you have
elect it
like,
within the community.
Or you have one that's
it's like
anonymous.
it's so hard because like the community is the one that's doing this, so like anything within the community can be easily corrupted, you know.
I
The
don't know,
board's
man.
been infiltrated.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
board. Yeah, you have
All
like
right,
your
there's like
boy.
an Epstein conspiracy in the fucking Smash community now. Like, it's not realistic. Like these things happen because of negligence.
I also just think it's hard to police all these people, though.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah,
it's not a
can't.
isolated incident. And it's not
Like
super.
yeah, it like comes
small.
down
It's
to like the parents who are responsible for their children. You need to know what your child's doing, where they're going, and who they're with. It's like,
You're also like you're not gonna be a helicopter parent either. You're gonna like 16 years old. I was running in the streets. Like it's not. You can't.
yeah,
I'm
but you
sure
weren't
these
going
kids
to
are.
random hotel rooms.
I'm sure these kids are texting their parents they're fine because they want to get
That's
away
true.
with
Yeah, with whatever.
having
Whatever
Rand
they
was
do.
a superstar.
Yeah.
All right, final thoughts.
Final
So,
thoughts.
I feel
It shouldn't be
gross.
that
I want
hard.
No.
to.
Yeah,
Done.
it's like, I think it's like disgusting that we have to like have a conversation and like figure out ways that we can prevent this from happening. Just don't touch kids. Like,
This
just like,
isn't,
I don't
this
I don't
isn't
understand.
a hard
Like,
thing to do.
it's just
And
like,
if you suspect your boy or girl of kitty diddling, you should kind of investigate that. That's on you, man. You have to be
Yeah.
a upstanding citizen.
Mhm.
Like everybody should be looking out for everybody.
yeah, like even if it's like they're the god of whatever Smash, whatever game,
Mhm.
you
There's more to life
if
outside
someone
of this
makes
game.
Yeah, yeah. That is someone's entire life that it could potentially be ruined or fucked up because you were like, well, it was just a rumor.
Okay. I have one quick story before we end. Okay.
Cool.
I went on a date with this girl. She was 22. I'm 27, right? She did not know what Chappelle Show was. And that was like, wow, this girl is too young for me. Now, these people can't make that same assertion with like these people that they're hanging out with. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think everybody of like a certain age has had that point where it's like, wow, this person is too young for me. Like these people don't
Yeah.
have that.
It's not really their concern. they're
Yeah.
pretty. I think that's the point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Also-
if you see
also when you're, like-
degenerates like that, then you should fucking probably be looking up on them. And also,
But like
again,
also when you're in the same community, like you're a 15-year-old, all you do is play Smash. You're a 22-year-old, all you do is play Smash. Like you're gonna have a lot more in common than you think, because like all you do is play Smash. So like you may not have that dissertation where it's like, this kid's too young for me. Oh, this kid knows Smash. I know Smash. So I feel like
also
those
these
kinds of things don't come up.
that's it's like unintelligible, like
Yeah.
and I'm sure a lot of normal people, but like these people are predators and they deserve to be treated as such.
But I mean, they don't have giant arrows over their head that say this kid's a pedophile. Like it's
Chris
It's not
Hansen
as-
was doing it. Chris Hansen's been doing it.
he trapped them. He would be like, "Come
Yeah.
here, I'm a child," and
Yeah.
if they came, it's like, well, guess he's a pedophile. Like, should there be sleeper agents, sleeper
Yes.
children in the community that that are like, come back to my hotel?
Oh, yeah. It's
And then,
not,
like,
nothing
the
to see here.
Police storm in. Like people in
Yeah.
Yoshi costumes just start beating the shit out of them in the hotel.
Yeah,
Stop-
man.
stop
Look,
a kid.
look, you take some of the prize money every time. Not a lot. You only need like a couple $100 every time, and you put it into a fund, and we'll call it the Chris Hansen Fund, and we'll just hire Chris Hansen to pretend to be 15-year-old girls because he's so good at it and has years of experience of pretending to be 15-year-old girls, and we will see who the pedos are and who aren't, and we will have proof.
I do think that's a good idea. Chris Hansen aside, that the community itself should put some kind of money into someone who does this research on players, whether it be like they make fake accounts and like reach out to them and just to like expose, just to
I don't know.
expose.
They were
'cause-
talking about like expanding the ticket fees to like beef up security. Like that, I think that's a little more realistic.
Mhm.
Yeah, at the after parties. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you can get third party that will handle the situations for you. You don't have to.
Yeah.
If you can't do it yourself, then you can pay
Yeah.
somebody that it's their responsibility
I
to
don't
deal
know.
with.
I
And it doesn't-
imagine that now the community is going to be a little more stringent on these
Yeah.
after parties. Someone's going to be like,
yeah,
Child
because
alert,
like
get
no,
out.
no one wants to be the next Nairo, so they're going to be like, there's a kid here.
Yeah,
Who invited him?
yeah, cheeks clenched.
Yeah, and it should have been happening from the beginning. Is my whole point on this.
Mhm.
Final
Yes.
thought.
yeah, okay, so, I think this is terrible that it happened, but I think this is a necessary cleanse, and in
Mhm.
the long run, it's what the community needed. It's good that it's being addressed. So, hopefully, they can kind of pick the pieces back up. I feel like this coronavirus year has been like just like a straight up virus where it's just everyone is like, we're gonna come out cleaner. Hopefully, that is my hope in general. But that is enough pedophile talk for one podcast episode. We are the Infamy Fantasy Esports team. We are hosting Fantasy Fortnite tournaments all this month and the following at infamy.gg. So sign up, and we will see you next time.